Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome inside the turf field here at Milford High School, as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Milford TV Executive Director Tim Coet here with you on the call, starting a new week in this spring sports season and a fun matchup here in boys lacrosse this afternoon as your Milford Scarlet Hawks take on one of their Kelly Rex Division rivals in the Attleboro Bombardiers. Attleboro controlling off the opening face-off as we jump right into action. A shot released from distance that goes well up over the Milford goal and out of play. I believe that was off the stick of Attleboro's Brody Shaw. Milford comes in today in 5th place position in the Kelly Rex standings with an overall record of 7-6. The team right above them in the standings is this Attleboro team. Despite a sub-500 record at 6-8, their league record allows them to be percentage points ahead of the Scarlet Hawks in the division standings. Another shot attempt by Attleboro is just off target, and now Milford with an opportunity to come up to their attacking side. Good physicality, and immediately fed up ahead to Henry Baldick. And Baldick facing heavy fire. He has to send this ball back outside to Anthony Mayetta, and now swung around behind the net for Jaden Martins. He gets his first touch of the game, and now back to Baldick. Milford's been on a good run as of late. We'll dip into some of their recent stats as the broadcast goes on, but we settle in here to our live coverage as this shot comes in low, and it is handled by the Attleboro goalie, one of their veteran players, senior Harry Wheaton. And he will begin this breakout himself. Straight up onto the attacking side for Attleboro. And that is the MO on Wheaton, as we read up on this Attleboro team before the game, one of the more aggressive goalies in the league. And we see it immediately right there as he starts the breakout onto the attacking side all by himself. This ball kicked back out into the open field by Milford and is eventually picked up by Mayetta. And he loses it just on to the attacking side. Attleboro now trying to gain control, but it's won back by Baldick. Ricky Nashawati steps out onto the field as this ball is controlled by Baldick, and now onto the stick of Jason Stokes. The underclassman has been sensational for Milford all season long, amongst the top point getters in the league this season. Again, we'll get you some more exact numbers on that as we get deeper into the broadcast. Happy to be back with you in another week of this spring sports season with live coverage locally on our Milford TV educational channel, as well as our Verizon High Definition channel, and coming to you worldwide, streaming on YouTube, and everyone getting a chance to see the first goal of the game live and in person here, courtesy of Jason Stokes. So we talked about it, the leading point getter on this team, and he goes to work for Milford early as the home team takes a 1-0 lead. Finishing off an early chance. And so as we set up for the face-off, Baldick is in the circle for Milford. Stokes came in second in the entire Hockomock League in points on the season, 55 points. You can make it 56 after that goal is scored, trailing only KP's Donovan DeVillis. Milford will control off this face-off, and it's right back to Stokes. It's been impressive to see the contributions that Jason Stokes has made across all 3 sports seasons this year, and he's been front and center in a lot of our Milford TV coverage. Back in the fall for the football team, where he served as a slot receiver that was utilized heavily throughout the season. And then the 6th man off the bench for Coach Olson's basketball team this winter, and now taking a leading role in the offensive production for this lacrosse team. That was a nice feed down low to Martins, but the defense was able to get there to back him away from that near post. Sean Meyer getting the pass up ahead. And on a couple of bounces, the ball on the stick of Logan Pembroke, another junior for Attleboro. The Bombardiers had to replace a lot of talent from their varsity team from a season ago. They returned the most experience on the defensive side of the field and in goal. As this ball is ripped in from distance, that was Pembroke who took it all the way. Came up top and fired that one past the reach of Anthony Mastriani for the game-tying goal. We're knotted up at 1 here still in the early going of the first quarter. So again, these teams separated by just percentage points in the standings. Milford a game over 500 overall, Attleboro 2 games under 500, but the separator is the division standings where Attleboro finds themselves at 3-6, Milford at 2-6. So a win here for Milford today would move them past Attleboro in the Kelly Rec standings. A little bit of separation from there between the other top teams in the Kelly Recs, which currently includes Franklin, North Attleboro, and King Philip. Milford controlling here, tied now at 1. It's Baldick around behind the net. He will float in a shot. It rolls through the goal, but not to the back of the net, and Attleboro will scoop up from there. It's taken by Harry Wheaton. And now all the way up ahead for the one-hop shot. It was defended well by Mastriani. The ball ends up going out of play. Yeah, a pair of Wheatons on the roster for Attleboro. Harry Wheaton, the goalie. It is John Wheaton who's out on defense. Here's Attleboro with some pace up the field, trying to reach Baldick with the pass. It ends up with Martins now, who immediately gets swarmed, and he is forced around behind the net. And this is something we've seen earlier this season in our Milford TV coverage, is opposing teams allocating a lot of defensive personnel to try to bump Martins away from the goal. Double and often triple teamed as that shot goes glancing off the post, stays outside, and is eventually settled down by the goalie. Milford nearly retaking the lead, but they ring the post, and Attleboro now advances up the near sideline. Now the ball unsettled. Finally, Nick Fernandez able to get to it for the Bombardiers. Shaded defensively by Ryan Burns, who will continue to track him around behind the net, then hands off defensively to Thomas Souza. .5:23 left in the first quarter, tied at a goal. Another hard shot is delivered, and it looked like Mastriani got a stick on that ball to deflect it wide. Regained by the goal scorer for Attleboro, Logan Pembroke. A low feed and then a reverse shot into goal off the stick of Landon Vieira. That was cast aside by Mastriani. Good focus there for Anthony on a tricky shot. So we remain tied at 1 as now Milford starts the breakout. They push it towards the near side for Burns, who will carry it as far as center, and then moves it on to Baldick. Baldick a little stutter step, trying to free himself of a defender. An active stick for Sean Meyer, the defenseman. Forces Milford back up top, first to Frontfelter, and eventually back on to Stokes. Stokes biding his time. Now we'll loop this ball in. Had someone crashing the net. That was Robbie De Gasparis, but he couldn't jam that one home. And now it's back to the goalie Wheaton. This time he will pass and stay in net. Jer Estrada across the center line now, shaded by fellow number 7 Stokes. Under 4 minutes to go in the first quarter, just a goal apiece so far. Good defense for these teams, good goaltending. Nate Conroy floats a pass behind the net. Mastriani with it. Little sidearm flip off to Souza before he returns in front of the Milford net. Some space across the middle of the field for Henry Baldick to receive a pass. Now that pass nearly intercepted, looking for De Gasparis. And ball rolling loose along the far sideline. It will trickle out of play. Excellent weather for this lacrosse action this afternoon. Warmer temperatures than we thought we were going to get here today, and also plenty of sunshine. So finally enjoying some true spring weather for the spring sports season. Temperature right around 70 degrees as we get this game started. Milford leaving that ball for Martins, who tried to sweep it in off the turf, but it's denied by another good play from Wheaton. Both goalies have made some good saves so far today. As we quickly approach 2.5 minutes to play in a fast-moving first quarter. It's back to Pembroke, who prowls behind the Milford net. Souza keeping an eye on him. Shouts from the sidelines from this Attleboro coaching staff as this shot comes in low. It's kept out in front by Mastriani. Attleboro with a little pressure as Milford tries to break it up ahead. Back up to Baldick. Less than 2 minutes now to play in the quarter. This is a new coaching staff for Attleboro this season. Jim Black, the head coach of this program in his first year. Although he has plenty of experience on the sidelines, as Kevin Coppy, serving as one of his assistants, was the founder of the boys lacrosse program in Attleboro. That ball came awkwardly off the stick of Landon Vieira, not close to the net. Attleboro continues to control as we approach the final minute of the first quarter. Ball loose. Milford pushes back towards center. And it's eventually picked up. Good play there by Dylan Burns as he was harassed by a couple of Attleboro players, but kept moving that ball back towards center. Now Milford, with 53 seconds to go, goes tumbling in towards the goal. That ball deflects away as Henry Baldick tried to make a move in on net. It'll be Attleboro to control with 51 seconds on the game clock here in the first quarter. Long lead pass is pulled down by Brody Shaw. And Shaw, an errant pass. And Milford with a couple of players over there trying to regain possession, but it's a giveaway right behind the net. This ball comes flying in, and Mastriani able to deflect it away. Good play for Mastriani on a bad giveaway for Milford. And the Scarlet Hawks now with a one-hop pass towards the center circle. 23 seconds left on the clock. Attleboro nearly putting in the go-ahead goal, but a good save for Mastriani. The Milford bench counting out the remainder of this clock. 5 seconds left. Milford forced behind the net, and they'll just run out the rest of this clock. No opportunity for De Gasparis to try to make a play on net. So the two teams level through the first quarter of play. Good intensity to this game so far. 1-1 on the scoreboard between the Scarlet Hawks and the visiting Attleboro Bombardiers. We'll take a quick pause here on the broadcast. We'll start the second quarter in just a moment as you enjoy coverage of Milford High School Varsity Boys Lacrosse here on Milford TV, presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Starting the second quarter in what has been a fun one so far. Good compete level out there for these two teams as Milford takes on Attleboro Boys Varsity Lacrosse here on Milford TV, presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Each team with a first quarter goal. Jason Stokes for Milford, and now it is Attleboro who quickly strikes in the opening seconds here in the second quarter. Milford controlling off the face-off, but the Bombardiers able to make quick work of it back up the field, and you can count the goal for number 3, Matt Silva, Jr. And so Attleboro leads now for the first time at 2-1. And the Bombardiers now will win this face-off, and they immediately toss it back to the goalie. Takes a few steps out of net and then gives it up. And now Milford, it's Robbie DeGasparis with some good stick work there to jostle the ball free. Ball still up for grabs as it's eventually settled down now by Sam Rosenberg. Rosenberg able to elude some contact across the middle, and now a little side flip over towards the near side for Maeda. And now back up top for Nashawati. The two go back and forth along the near sidelines. 10:46 to go in the first half. Attleboro striking for an early second quarter goal to take the lead. Now Jaden Martin's able to get around one defender, comes even with the far post, and now has to give it up. And the pass in to Henry Baldick, who releases a sidearm shot that is deflected. I don't think that got all the way to Wheaton in goal. Milford with possession as it ends up back on the stick of Baldick. And now DeGasparis, who will drift all the way back towards the center circle. Makes a move around Estrada, now sends one in on net, but a stick save is made by Harry Wheaton. Wheaton able to get that pass just past Jaden Martins, who was in the vicinity. And now the ball carrier forced out of play. Milford will take over just shy of midfield. It's Baldick who finds Stokes. He has the Milford goal in this game. Stokes no angle towards the net, so it's back to DeGasparis, who ranges around behind the goal. 9:25 on the second quarter clock. DeGasparis trying to back in now. Up top, fired in on net by Sullivan Driscoll, but the stop is made there by Wheaton, who will now carry up the far sideline. And now speed over the middle as this shot comes in on goal, but it's deflected away by Mastriani. That shot was taken, I believe, by Nate Conroy. Quick up and down pace, really, for this whole game. Conroy who dishes it back behind the net. Now Attleboro comes ahead, back up top for Pembroke. Good defense for Souza. And things eventually break down for Attleboro. Milford now a step or two back on their attacking side. Pass up ahead, finding Driscoll. Ashawati back in. Stokes dodging around defender, sends a shot in, but that was just over the post. Stokes with some good agility work there, was able to get around a couple of defenders. That shot a little bit too high, and now it comes in from Henry Baldick, a little bit to the far side of the Attleboro goal. Two good chances there for Milford, but they come up empty, and it's still a 2-1 Attleboro lead. As Wheaton sends it right to the center of the field, and now contact, and we'll have a flag that comes in. And a penalty assessed to Travis Poplaski. Opportunity here for Attleboro. Shot comes in from distance. That was wide of the net. Taken over now by Dylan Burns. Maeda with some tough work over the middle. He'll come in. He fires it well high. Milford may be rushing some shots here in the second quarter. Still just a 1-goal lead for the Bombardiers, down towards 6.5 minutes to play in the half. Here's Martins trying to get an angle. Instead, trying to hit Maeda with a pass that didn't get to him. And now room up ahead for Matt Silva. Good passing for the Bombardiers, but now this one broken up. Regained right in front of the goal. Now popped up for grabs. It's right behind the Milford goal, and it's picked up there by Pembroke. Now point-blank range, and no problem for Cameron Willard to finish off the chance. That was a big breakdown right in front of the Milford goal. The Hawks could not clear it, and Attleboro makes them pay as they now take a 3-1 lead. Souza was able to get there initially, but instead of getting the clear, he popped it straight up in the air. It allowed Attleboro to regroup, and then it was Cameron Willard all alone in front of the net. No chance for Mastriani. 6:08 to go here in the first half as Attleboro extends the lead to 3-1. Three unanswered goals now for Attleboro. But now here is Stokes. He hustles in and quickly gets one back for the Scarlet Hawks. Just a good power move there for Stokes. Initially, it looked like Attleboro was going to secure that face-off, but then Milford was able to regroup, and they got it up to Stokes, who did the rest himself all the way in, got a good look on net, and did not miss with the shot. His second goal of this first half. And another face-off win here for Milford. Played ahead to Dylan Burns. Burns will fire in from long distance, and it's a stick save made by Wheaton. Attleboro couldn't find it at first, but Wheaton eventually able to pounce on the loose ball. And now pushes ahead. Attleboro along the far sideline. The pass too high to pull down. Less than 5.5 minutes to go. Only about 17 seconds in between the goal by Cameron Willard and the response by Jason Stokes. Stokes will take this pass here. And now again, speed up the middle. This time he gives up the pass. The goal was wide open, but Martins misses. Possession still with the Scarlet Hawks as we dip under the 5-minute mark in this first half. Milford trying to curl around from behind the net. Here's Baldick with a one-hop shot that's off target. Perhaps Wheaton getting a stick on it. You can feel the intensity all around the field for this matchup. Both of these teams want this game badly. Back up top here for Ricky Nashawati. Stokes ranging in. Nashawati now turns on the Jets. Leaves this ball up for grabs. Martin's trying to settle it down. Milford with some support there. Now back to Nashawati. Sends it back up top. Milford moving the ball quickly here. Good passes. And now this one ripped in from the far side. That was Henry Baldick. And this game tied back up now at 3. And a really good response here for Milford after falling behind by 2. First Stokes, now Baldick. And we're back to even once again. Right now, timeout taken on the field. So, again, we talked about Stokes' first half. It's overall on the season. And solid numbers also for Henry Baldick. That was his 29th goal of the season. Both players among the top in the Hockomock League in scoring on the season. Jaden Martin's also towards the top of the league rankings in points, 47 coming into the game today. That included 38 goals and 9 assists. Couple of clutch goals, and we're tied at 3 as both teams retake the field off of the timeout. Bit of cloud cover, as well as a breeze right now that is blowing from right to left across the playing surface. It's all the more impressive on these last couple of shots for Milford as they've been against the breeze. Baldick with a good face-off win. Sends the pass to Martins. He can't find the ball. It was behind him. Now is able to regroup. And the pass back on to Baldick. Gets away from a defender and sends a shot bouncing in front of the net that deflects away. Possession still with Milford as Baldick ranges behind the Attleboro goal. Landon Vieira keeping an eye on Baldick. as he's shoved to the ground. The flag comes in, and we'll get a penalty here on the Bombardiers. It's assessed on Vieira. Just over 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. And everybody's favorite hype man, Joey Newman, entering the field and immediately getting this Milford crowd to cheer on this boys lacrosse team. Shot on goal that is saved by Wheaton. And now Nashawati will chase him around behind the net, loses his footing, and now Milford trying to chop that ball free from the goalie. A flag comes in at the end of the play, and so we'll have a Milford player to the sideline here. And meanwhile, some jawing back and forth between the Attleboro coaching staff and the referee. And so some more conversation will now take place with a little less volume as the officials come together with the Attleboro coaching staff. It seems as though in the end the penalty is assessed to the Attleboro goalie. And they have given Coach Black a warning now on the sideline. So Landon Vieira still serving his penalty.
Hey, get out of there.
And it looks like they will have Cameron Willard serve the penalty for Harry Wheaton. So a real good opportunity here for Milford, and also perhaps an opportunity to pounce on a lack of composure on the Attleboro side. We'll see as play resumes. And so once again, we've talked about the aggressiveness of Harry Wheaton, not afraid to come out of net. He did so there to try to break that ball out, but ended up losing his footing. And started mixing it up with Jaden Martins, among other Attleboro Milford players over in the area. Gets whistled for the penalty, now being served by Willard on the sidelines, and Milford with the advantage out there. And Martins now twisting and turning around, trying to clear himself of defenders, sends a shot in that goes wide. 2.5 minutes, make it 2:39 on the clock. The first penalty up, Landon Vieira back out onto the field as Baldick will send in a one-hop shot. That is wide of the net. Milford will continue to have possession. If you're Milford, you really want to cash in. With things trending in their direction here late in the half. Maeda, one-touch pass to De Gasparis, now back up top for Maeda. He sends the shot in low, and it's saved cleanly by Wheaton. He stays in net here as he sends a pass away. Now the ball in and out of the stick of Brody Shaw. Now this gives Milford a chance to try to win back possession. Maeda now will push back across the center line as we dip down to 90 seconds to play. So all the penalty time up. So Attleboro able to survive with the score still tied at 3. And now again, it's Wheaton who comes upfield, and another flag comes flying in. As this ball drifts out of play, Jaden Martins now will go to the sideline. So after Attleboro survives the penalty time, Milford will now have to do the same with Martins on the sideline. And just 1:05 to play in the second quarter, so all of a sudden Milford a bit vulnerable. And so meanwhile, there's some more complaining going on from the Attleboro sideline as Coach Black now works the other official. And you could hear the referees have had just about enough of what Coach Black has had to say. They gave him another verbal warning. As now timeout is called on the field. That stops the action with 1:05 to go. Things getting very heated out there on the turf as we get deeper into this one, tied up at 3. And so we'll take a quick pause. We'll wrap up this first half when we come back next on this coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics here on Milford TV, presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. A game that's as lively on the field as it is in the stands. Everyone having a good time. We're knotted up at 3 as we come back out of the timeout. Martins continuing to serve out a penalty on the sidelines. Attleboro now back out onto the field as well. A pair of goals for Jason Stokes so far in this game, along with a single goal for Henry Baldick. And on the Attleboro side, goals by Logan Pembroke, Matt Silva, and Cameron Willard. Attleboro controlling here as this ball comes up ahead parallel to the near post. Less than a minute to go now in this first half as Brody Shaw has to go back to collect the loose ball. Attleboro sending that one in from distance off the stick of Landon Vieira. Controlled still by the Bombardiers. 30 seconds left to go in the half. Back around behind the net, now up top. Ball loose, and it's picked up here by Milford. They'll send it back to Mastriani with 17 seconds left. Mastriani now will travel out beyond his goal. And now loops a pass that will reach Anthony Maeda on a bounce. 8 seconds left to go. Milford looking perhaps for one more shot. Here's Nashawati, 3 seconds left, and he will just hang on as this first half concludes. And so we finish right where we started, tied on the scoreboard. 3 goals for Milford, 3 goals for Attleboro. And it should be a very intriguing second half on tap here, as these teams have been very even up and down the field so far today. So we will pause here for the half. They put 10 minutes on the clock for the intermission, so if you're joining us for the live coverage, we highly encourage you stick around. We'll have third quarter action in just about 10 minutes from now, so stay with us for that. 3 goals apiece for Milford and Attleboro as we bring you this coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV, presented by Rail Trail. Getting set to start the second half of what's been a fun one so far. Varsity boys lacrosse between Milford and Attleboro tied at 3. As we're about to start third quarter action, all of our sports coverage here on Milford TV is presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Seen a lot of great promotions at Rail Trail in recent weeks. A couple of days of Mother's Day brunch over this weekend, and now you can start to plan out your Father's Day celebration over at Rail Trail as they showcase flapjacks and flatbreads as part of their Father's Day celebration on June 16th at both their Hudson and Milford locations. Opportunity to donate as part of that event, and those donations here in Milford will support the Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro West. It's another great promotion from our good friends at the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. As meanwhile, we settle in for second half action here on the lacrosse field, tied up at 3. Milford looking to attack from right to left across your screens here in third quarter action as this ball drops down right in front of the goal mouth, in front of Mastriani. He's able to get to it first. And now Milford trying to quickly bring this ball up the other way, but a mishandle for Milford Sullivan Driscoll, and now the ball loose at midfield. The fans immediately get re-engaged here, as now Henry Baldick is able to secure the ball and takes it across the middle of the field. Just a minute into this third quarter action. This game has been physical right from the opening faceoff. Here's Baldick with a hard shot in, and a stick save made by Harry Wheaton, who's been right in the thick of it all day long. He's made some good saves. He's also come out from net and mixed it up at times with the Milford players. Was whistled for a penalty in the first half. Now here's Stokes. Looks like he took some contact up high, but no flag. And now Attleboro trying to escape with possession, but Milford able to knock the ball free. It will roll right across the center line, picked up by Sullivan Driscoll. And Driscoll now swarmed by a couple of defenders, but able to safely get the pass away up the far sideline. Now back on to Stokes. He can't split the double team this time. Has to back out. And now back to Driscoll. Nashawati now. Baldick, now Martins. Martins, a little fake. Took a couple of steps in, released a shot that was wide. Take Asparis around behind the net. Nashawati back to Martins. He looked to unload a shot, but the defense closed in first. Now A little tomahawk shot in by Stokes. Does not reach the net. Now Martins, he squeezes through a couple of defenders. Now De Gasparis. Not sure if that ball went off the post or was stopped by Wheaton. But all kinds of activity here on the Milford attacking side. 9 minutes to go in the third. Again, here's Martins. Rears back and fires, but that shot is wide. Martins playing a little bit further out from the goal than we typically see him. A couple of looks there on Harry Wheaton, but couldn't cash in, and now Wheaton starts and stops and sends a pass over towards the near sideline that may have surprised his brother John Wheaton, who couldn't handle the pass, and now Milford takes back over right in front of the Attleboro bench. And back now for Stokes. And now it's Baldick. He fires that one in, and it went off the side of the goal. It's picked up now by the goaltender. He has some room to carry up the middle. Baldick stops his progress. Pass goes to the near side for Jair Estrada. Estrada gets past Nashawati. Nashawati hacking away from behind, but instead the pass comes in on the stick of Cameron Willard and is eventually secured by Anthony Mastriani. Now Stokes to Maeda, and around behind the net. This crowd wanting to see more shot attempts by Jaden Martins, but not this time. Now it's Henry Baldick. Gets forced back towards the near sideline. Now looking for some help. Gives up the pass for Stokes. Gets past the defense, in tight, and he scores. The third goal of the game for Jason Stokes. And this will give the Milford the lead once again, now at 4-3. So Milford led it 1-0, then Attleboro with 3 straight goals to take the lead. And now now the Scarlet Hawks have fought their way back in and have reclaimed the lead at 4-3 with 7:15 to go in the third quarter. Mason Baldick back in the face-off circle. Henry Baldick came into action today, third in the Hockomock League in face-offs.
Number 23, track star. Watch the release.
68% from the face-off circle for Henry Baldick. It is Attleboro who controls off of this face-off. As we dip under 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. Now a 4-3 lead for the Scarlet Hawks. Logan Pembroke, who scored the first Attleboro goal, now carries in. Fakes the pass. A good job by Souza to stay with him. Now curls around to the far side of the goal and sends a shot in. Does not make it to net. Pembroke jamming away. Now Milford there. Still left down on the turf. And finally, it's picked back up by Attleboro's Cameron Willard. You can make that number 6, Nick Fernandez. early timeout is called here with 6 minutes and 19 seconds to go in the third quarter. Give us a chance to set the scene for what right now is scheduled to be our final week of regular season spring sports coverage. Here today on the lacrosse field, we'll be in the gym on Wednesday for boys volleyball coverage as the Scarlet Hawks take on Wayland High School in a varsity matchup that should touch off around 5:45 p.m. And then on Friday, we believe the weather will cooperate for us to go out for senior night baseball coverage as the Scarlet Hawks host the Hopedale Blue Raiders. Next week we'll begin some other heavy coverage around town, including live coverage of Milford's special town meeting, annual town meeting, I should say, on Monday the 20th. We'll also have coverage live of the annual Dick Corbin Sports Awards on Wednesday of next week. So we'll start to shift towards some other major coverage around town. However, we will keep a close eye on the remainder of the spring sports regular season, and also we'll wait to see which teams make it into the postseason to see if we can get any additional spring sports coverage for you. So I highly encourage, as always, that you stay close to all of our social media accounts. You can find us on Facebook, you can find us on X, and on Instagram as well, and also on Instagram Threads. Back out of the timeout, Attleboro with possession, Milford with the lead. Brody Shaw travels towards the far sideline, now tries to cut in. And a bad pass is picked up by Dylan Burns. Now the pass ahead. Gathered in on a couple of bounces by Maeda. Now has to get away from the Bombardier defense. Finds Robbie D. Gasparis. And now Garen Fraunfelter. Five and a half minutes to go in the third. Ball ends up out of play off the stick of Sullivan Driscoll. Attleboro will take over. And so once again, it is the goalie, Harry Wheaton, who carries all the way on to the Attleboro attacking side. And now gives up a pass. Things get a little dicey there momentarily for Attleboro, but they're able to regroup. Now that pass batted away, and now regrouped in front of the net, and a score. That looked all kinds of out of control for Attleboro, but they were able to hang on to possession and eventually find Landon Vieira right in front of the net, who released a shot and then immediately lost his footing, but that shot went past Mastriani, and we're tied once again at 4. Four different goal scorers so far for Attleboro. Scrum off the faceoff. It's eventually won by Milford. The ball ends up out of play, but a flag comes in. A cross-check called on Attleboro. Looks like it will send Sean Meyer to the sideline. Now Baltic trying to wind up for a shot. Now finds Martins. Jaden has to give it up. Now Baltic, a line drive shot that goes wide of the net and out of play. And now back up top for Stokes, who has a hat trick today. Gives it up immediately to Nashawati. Now Martins, there he is. This time Martins cashes in his first goal of the game, and it gives Milford the lead back at 5-4 with an even 4 minutes to go in the third. Head coach Austin Costa pleased on the sideline with that ball movement. Milford's done a good job of answering every time Attleboro has tried to take over momentum in this game. Meanwhile, for Jaden Martins, that is goal number 39 on the season. Attleboro winning this face-off. Stokes now with a chance for the breakout. Ball up for grabs. Now Baldick, it's just out of his grasp. Now he settles it. And a stick around the neck. That drew flags from both sides of the net. Delayed penalty coming up here as now Martins fires in and he scores again. And pumped up. Back-to-back goals for Jaden Martins to give Milford now a 6-4 lead. Goals separated by 32 seconds. This time it was Fraunfelter in the face-off circle. Lost track of the ball as now Stokes steps in. And he's able to control. Another penalty flag comes in. It's fired on goal by Fraunfelter, but that will be waved off. So the penalty in the end assessed to Garen Fraunfelter, so there will be no goal. And Garen will head to the sidelines. The fans unhappy with the call. So it stays 6-4 on the scoreboard, 3:10 to go in the third. So Attleboro back on the man advantage. Errant pass, and Attleboro not able to save it. Or do they? It looked like initially they were signaling possession for Milford, but Attleboro now will walk it back in. 2:49 on the third quarter game clock as they put it up top for Landon Vieira, who scored the last Attleboro goal. Brody Shaw, he finds Pembroke. Around behind the net now for Conroy. Stokes trying to stay with him. Now the pass up top for a shot for Shaw that was airmailed well above the Milford goal. Now the ball loose. It's scooped up by Stakowski. But one back by the Bombardiers. It's Shaw now going against Maeda. And this ball rainbowed up over the Milford goal and out of play. Still Bombardier ball. Less than 90 seconds to go in the quarter now. Pembroke dishes it to the far side. Michael Sawyer, a junior, now with it up top. Guarded by Ryan Burns. Now able to knock the ball loose is Burns. It's picked back up by the Bombardiers. In towards the goal, a flag comes flying in as the shot is sticked away by Mastriani. We'll have another penalty here assessed to the Scarlet Hawks, this time on Alex Stakowski. So Milford taking a 2-goal lead, but have now been whistled for a couple of penalties. It's allowed Attleboro to control the pace here to these final minutes of the third quarter. 42 seconds left in the quarter as Pembroke ranges in from the far sideline. Now whistled in low, and the score for Landon Vieira. He notches his second goal of this third quarter. With 30 seconds to go in the period, it's back to a 1-goal differential. Henry Baldick lines up for the faceoff on the Milford side. Yes, Coach Costa and his staff look for some disciplined play here out of their group to close out the period. A clean faceoff win here for Baldick. They look for the quick catch and shoot for De Gasparis, but he can't handle the pass. It rolls out of play along the far sidelines with 20 seconds left. Attleboro will bring it back out onto the playing surface. Milford with some physical defense. 5 seconds left now. Chance perhaps for one final shot from Attleboro. It comes in low and is not close to Mastriani and net, so we conclude 3 quarters of play here on the Milford turf with the Scarlet Hawks hanging on to a 6-5 lead. It's been close from the beginning. An exciting finish on tap. We'll get the fourth quarter started for you after this quick timeout on the broadcast on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics here on Milford TV, presented by Rail Trail. Back once again at the Milford turf to start the fourth quarter in this Kelly Rex Division showdown between the Milford Scarlet Hawks and the Attleboro Bombardiers. Milford with a 6-5 lead. They had goals in that third quarter. 1 by Jason Stokes, 2 by Jaden Martins. And on the Attleboro side, 2 third quarter goals for Landon Vieira. Milford now attacking from left to right across your screens as the fourth quarter gets going. Hawks controlling off the faceoff as Ricky Nashawati steps behind the Attleboro goal. Floats a pass in front, the shot and the score for Mason Baldick. I beg your pardon, Henry Baldick. Henry's been all over the action all game long, and then finally finds the back of the net. And a good start to this fourth quarter for Milford as they take now a 7-5 lead. Second time they have led by 2. And now Milford picks up this loose ball off the face-off. It's Stokes who will curl back out and now finds the most recent Hawks goal scorer, Baldick, who gives up a quick pass to Driscoll, whose one-hop shot does not reach the net. And now is brought up ahead once again by the Attleboro goaltender, Harry Wheaton. Attleboro trying to change out some personnel. Milford doing the same as they get Landon Vieira back out onto the field on the Attleboro side, who's been hot in the second half. Attleboro controls, a little over 10 minutes remain. It's Vieira backing out, now gives it up to Brody Shaw. Shaw step around his defender. His shot comes in on a bounce and is saved by Mastriani. The pass up ahead, in and out of the stick of Thomas Souza. And now it is Stokes, who finds Jaden Martins for the quick catch and release, and he sent it whizzing over the Attleboro goal. Milford gathers back in, and now Fraunfelter maintains possession along the near sideline. Back to Stokes. He leaves the ball behind, and it's picked up now by Dylan Govey. Made the good play to knock that ball away. Milford with possession back, Anthony Maeda. He jogs his way in. As De Gasparis around behind the net, but instead goes back up top for Stokes. Milford trying to use up a little clock. As now Stokes zigzags his way in, sends a shot off target. Martins gathers back in at the edge of the field of play. The Attleboro coaches wanting to see the defense play in tighter on Martins. Uses that body to try to burrow his way inside, releases a shot from distance this time that is knocked aside. And now a long pass, not secured by Austin Bissett. And now both teams trying to find it as it goes out of play along the far sideline. Possession for Milford. Ticking down to 8 minutes left to play, and a 2-goal Milford lead. Ball on the stick of Nashawati. Sprints around behind the Attleboro goal. Now a quick catch and shoot and a little Superman goal that time for Henry Baltic. He scores his second, but no, he hops up and down in frustration. It looks like the goal will be disallowed. Phenomenal play as Baltic pulled that ball down and in one motion sent the shot in to the back of the net, but it was disallowed by the referee, so we stay a 7-5 score. Not quite 100% sure what the call was there. Milford with possession back. Driscoll all alone will send it backwards to Jason Stokes. Stokes makes his move, sends the shot on goal, but it's deflected all the way back out off the stick of Wheaton. Now it's Nashawati. Gets away from his defender, will curl around behind the goal. Now back ahead, it's in for Stokes and deflects all the way back out. Martins and Driscoll there jamming away, but it's taken by Attleboro. Brought up ahead by Ethan Lyons. And now an errant pass over towards the far sideline. It looks like Milford will take over. Both coaching staffs fully engaged on the sideline. Less than 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Still a 2-goal Milford lead. Stokes. Forced towards the far sideline. Continues to carry now as he drifts around towards the back of the Attleboro goal. Gets a little shove, keeps on going. Now wraps it around. One hop shot, drifts across the goal mouth and is now picked up by Martins. And now up top for De Gasparis. He gets chased out. Now an elevated pass. Fraunfelter eventually able to settle it down. Inside of 5 minutes to go now. Milford again using the clock to their advantage, down to 4:40. Fraunfelter trying to find Martins. The ball goes across the width of the field and out of play. Possession still with Milford here. Martins has it all the way over on the far sideline. De Gasparis now around from behind the net, tries to rifle it in. Can't make it through traffic, and now it's taken away by the Bombardiers. Slick pass is picked up off the turf by Jackson DeYeso. And in the end, the ball goes out of play behind the Milford goal. Scooped up there by the Bombardiers. 4:02 on the fourth quarter clock. It's Pembroke now. He sends it in along the turf, but wide of the Milford net. Conroy. Penalty flag down as this ball takes a tricky bounce and ends up past Mastriani in for the score. If it counts, it'll bring us back to within a goal. Indeed, it'll stay on the scoreboard. 7-6 now in the late stages of the fourth quarter. You can count the goal for Cameron Willard. That's his second of the game. Comes at a crucial time where Milford looked to be in control. So this one not over by a long shot. 1 goal differential. All kinds of time still on the clock. 3:41 as they line up once again in the face-off circle. This ball will drift back to Austin Bissett. Right now, Ryan Burns serving penalty time on the sideline. Logan Pembroke behind the net. Vieira gives it up back to Pembroke. Milford collapses in front of the goal. Attleboro emerges with possession. Under 3 minutes to go now. It's Shaw. Conroy, and now Vieira takes the shot. It deflects to the near side, picked up by Mastriani, and a good pass up onto the attacking side, and now eventually onto the stick of Robbie De Gasparis. Carries behind the net, less than 2.5 minutes to play. 3 defenders around behind the net. Now it's Nashawati. Nashawati stutter stepping and now sends a pass to Henry Baldick. This will take us under 2 minutes to play. Baldick keeps his feet as he now races behind the net. On the stick of Sullivan Driscoll. And now Baldick. Milford trying to eat as much of the rest of this clock as they can. Jaden Martin's back out onto the field. Baldick trying to work off of a Martin screen. Now gives the pass back to Driscoll. Less than 90 seconds to play. Jason Stokes now races around the far sideline and back towards the middle. He'll take a shot. It's elevated over the net and out of play. It'll stay with Milford as Driscoll was back there in the vicinity. Now Nashawati gets closed off. 60 seconds left to play. As Nashawati now races up top. And back to Henry Baldick. Long pass finds Stokes. Now Baldick. The Attleboro coaching staff frustrated on the sidelines. Behind the net again for Jason Stokes. 25 seconds left. Milford trying to run out this clock. Back to Nashawati now. Now it's Martins. Thought about the turnaround shot, but continues to carry. Now will pass to De Gasparis. Just 8 seconds left to go. Milford has smothered the life out of the final seconds of this game, and they will carry it to the final buzzer. And a huge 7-6 victory for the Scarlet Hawks here today over the Attleboro Bombardiers. Got a little hairy there towards the end with that late goal. for the Bombardiers to pull it back to within one, but Milford able to run out the clock. Good passing executed on the offensive side, and a quality day all around for the Scarlet Hawks. Great play in net today for Anthony Mastriani. The hat trick for Jason Stokes. A pair of goals as well for Henry Baldick. Also 2 goals for Jaden Martins. And again, it all totals up to an exciting 7-6 victory. And so with the win, Milford will improve to 8-6 overall on the season. And with the loss, Attleboro will fall to 6-9. And that will also allow the Scarlet Hawks to leapfrog over Attleboro in the standings. So this should put Milford into 4th place position in the Kelly Rec standings, as Milford looks to continue to make their move here late in the season, closing in on their best finish in their varsity program history. And more hard work to do moving forward in the season. So we certainly wish the Scarlet Hawks good luck as they continue on for their final games here in the regular season. Their next 2 will be on the road at Stoughton and at Seekonk before they return home for their final 2 games of the regular season against the Sharon Eagles, and then a non-conference game to close out the season against Norwood. Our next Milford TV coverage will come your way on Wednesday night, as we'll be in the gym for boys volleyball coverage as Milford takes on Wayland, and also make sure to stay tuned this Friday night as we'll be out at Pheno Field for senior night baseball coverage as Milford takes on the Hopedale Blue Raiders. That's what's coming up the rest of this week, but that will wrap things up here for today. A big thank you to our Milford TV crew on hand for the coverage. Our camera operator this afternoon is our Milford TV intern, Sophia Mitchell, and our director for today is Patrick Garapi, and I am Tim Coet. That final score, one final time, Milford defeats Attleboro by a final score of 7-6. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV, presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. So long, everybody.